I'm pretty sure Janine Teagues from Abbott Elementary is my spirit animal. We both have that overwhelming enthusiasm and optimism that everything is going to be all right. And I took this into my second year of teaching 7th grade language arts at Rosa Parks Middle School. 1, because I had a job. And 2, I had a whole year of teaching experience under my belt. You couldn't tell me shit. I walked into the class, brand new suit, brand new shirt, brand new tie, brand new shoes like I have on now. I said, "Good morning, class. I'm Mr. Gordon. I will start taking attendance," and a hand goes up. Young man in the second row. I said, "Yes, sir." He says, "Before you call attendance, my name is Hawkins." And I immediately looked down the list. He says, No, Mr. Gordon. It's Hawkins, just my last name. And I'm like, "Oh." He said, "Well, my father's in the Army." And he said, "A man gets respect from being called by his last name, and I would appreciate if you call me by my last name." And I said, "Oh, okay, Mr. Hawkins, sure." He said, "No, Mr. Hawkins is my granddad. Sergeant Hawkins is my dad. I'm just Hawkins. Do you got it?" And immediately I said, "Oh, shit." And then he said, without missing a beat, "And I meant no disrespect, sir." And I said, "Oh, my goodness. I've never seen such politeness in a 7th grader. This is going to be great." And this is who Hawkins was. Above average in all subjects, extremely talented chess player, very good debater, played basketball, had to go through that before we got to the stereotype. Okay. And he was just a great guy in class. Several months down the line, we go to a trip called The Other Cinderella. It plays at the Black Ensemble Theater. And it's to Cinderella what The Wiz is to The Wizard of Oz. High-octane, hip-hop infused dance, singing, and the students loved it. Unlike the trip I planned last year to the Nutcracker, it flopped like when the Bears played the Packers flopped. And I love my Bears, but shit, you know. So anyway, this is when Hawkins says, Mr. Gordon, I'm going to be an actor. You're going to see me on that stage." And I said, "I believe it." He says, "I believe it too." And I believed him. One day we were doing a journal assignment about what you wanted to be. And of course, he stated in his journal that he wanted to be an actor. Others said lawyer, doctors, and such. And he raised his hand. He said, "Mr. Gordon." I said, "Yes, Hawkins." He says, "What did you want to be?" I said, "I wanted to be a teacher." And we all chuckled at that. He says, "Well, did you want to be something else? Did you want to be something other than a teacher?" And I said, "Yeah, I wanted to be an actor like you." He said, "Really?" I said, "Yes." He says, "Well, why aren't you? Why aren't you an actor, Mr. Gordon?" I said, "Well, teaching was a better option." He said, "It was?" And I said, "It was." And the bell rang for class, and that cliche of being saved by the bell was appropriate at that moment because I had lied to him. I didn't think I could be an actor. I didn't think they had people on TV that looked like me, dark skin like me, not long flowing hair, not the six-pack abs, nothing. I was from the south side of Chicago. I couldn't be an actor. So I was a teacher. It was, I guess, what I was supposed to do. Parent-teacher conference, and I got to meet the Sergeant Hawkins. And he came, he shook my hand. He said, "Mr. Gordon, did you serve?" I said, "No, but I have a bunch of family who are in the armed services." And he says, "Well, I guess if you can't serve, you teach." The south side of Chicago came all out of me, but controlled. And I said, "Well, Sergeant, someone had to teach you how to serve." And he said, And I said, Hawkins said, "No, Dad, Sergeant, Mr. Gordon is top notch." And the sergeant looked at me and he stuck his hand out. He said, "I apologize, sir, for any slight." I said, "No problem. Thank you so much for your service." Hawkins nodded at me. I nodded back. And The rest of the year went, but I couldn't stop thinking about the question he had asked me about being an actor. Why hadn't I done it? I had been the teacher that had always encouraged students, you can do whatever, however, put your energy, put your effort, put your hard work into it, and you can do it. But I hadn't done that. I was living daily hypocrisy because I didn't do that. The 7th grade year came and went, and Hawkins went on to the 8th grade. He would get into the drama club, and I would keep in touch with him, keep tabs on him. He went to Thornton High School next, started in plays, and then he went to Illinois State University. And his first year, he got a role in The Express, the Ed Davis story, and then we lost touch. And I was happy for him because he had pursued his dreams, but I hadn't. A friend of mine, as I started doing poetry, a friend of mine reached out. He said, hey, man, you want to be in a movie? I got this movie called Animals, the movie. And I said, dude, I'm not an actor. He said, you'll be playing a teacher. I said, oh, I can do that. Yeah. And so I did it. He said, well, you should do some background work. And I started doing background work, extra work, and I wound up on a show called Chicago PD. And I saw one of the actors, about 6'3", black guy, buff, handsome. And I said, no way. And they said, tell extras don't speak to the actors. And I'm a rule breaker. So I said, Hawkins! And he came over. He says, Mr. Gordon, what are you doing here? I said, I'm acting. I'm doing background work. He says, no shit? I said, no shit. And he hugged. He said, well, I got to go to set. I said, well, okay, great. I said, I'm proud of you, Hawkins. He said, I'm proud of you, too. And as alluded to in my introduction, I'm an actor now. You've probably seen me somewhere and didn't know it was me, but I'm doing it. As teachers, we have this credo about reaching one student. We want to reach as many as we can, but we want to reach one student. And I'd like to say I've done that in all my years of teaching. But the hook is when the student can reach back and touch and influence you like Hawkins did me. Thank you.